season is upon us. The off season is pretty much finished. I say pretty much, but it just is. All the teams out there, everything is out there. I wanted to make a little tier list. It's going to be a little bit different. As you can see, I'm going to do a top 3 contenders, early bloomers, late bloomers. Very, very easy. I'm going to look at it through the lens of these are my opponents. So I'm rating the opponents that I have, considering I am competing in the win split. For those are sitting there and waiting for me to rate my own team, obviously, from my side, I can say the scrims are going well. I can say that I'm pleasantly surprised by everyone's level and dedication, which is super nice. We're in the middle of scrims. But of course, I maintain my discretion. I've never been the coach to reveal inside information or anything like that. I wanted to put a video out there, of course, of what is going on and what I expect from the teams in the LEC coming into the year. I have four, of course, categories here instead of the usual rating from A to B. Late bloomers, I think these are teams that can, with time, can do good. I think that most of the rosters that are like filled with rookies, for example, I think that with time, these are rosters that can do well. Early bloomers, I do think these are teams that can pick up momentum early on due to them being great to play against, like, for example, in SK. And I think with time, I think that they will get kind of outscaled. Contenders, I think that they are the ones that are built as close as possible to try to beat top 3 based on available information. And then the top 3 is the top 3. So let's get into it. Let's get the easy out of the way. G2, for sure, is like the best team coming into the league. You don't see it so well, so I'm just going to zoom in this page. I don't know if we can... It is what it is. G2 is right there, guys. G2 is right there on my screen. It's hard to see. Maybe for you guys it's visible. G2 should be the #1 team. I think that they, of course, just retained their entire roster, kept their entire roster, did super well. I think that they had a steady improvement and steady growth. I think a big testament to them is, of course, the coaching staff and the management and how they work together to integrate players and to enact their vision. I love the fact that G2 is doing things in 2 years projects and they are investing time into players. And I think that G2, especially in winter, I think that they should be the team to beat. I can't see a world where any other team is going to beat them, especially because the teams that could contest against them are teams that have made massive, massive changes to their rosters. I think in the short term, Koi, considering they retained, I do think in the short term they should be better. Looking at the game through the lens of what the patch is, I have to say, this should be an entirely separate video, but early game is very important, but snowballing the game, the amount of gold you can generate between 20 and 30 minutes is very, 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 very limited. Gold generation really, really falls off a cliff. You don't get as much gold from killing Nasher anymore, and progressing into tier 2s is quite difficult. And I do think that gold, basically platings never go away, which means that having strong early games but poor mid to late game gets way more punished on this patch, because the plating gold stays. The plating gold stays. If you take a Nasher and you get aced, or like you make a mistake and you lose the Nasher and the enemy picks up towers, the throwback in terms of giving first shutdown gold and then the turret plating gold still being there and then the gold from Nasher not being big is quite dangerous. And I do think that Koi has had an issue in the mid to late game, even though they are one of the best, if not the best early game team in the region. I do think that they will suffer if they don't fix their mid to late game. But I do think in the short term, they should be still, just because they've retained the roster, they should be very plug and play. I do think that they should be well off. You know, I do think they should be well off. Other than that, I do think that the team like KC can definitely like catch up to them. I think there's definitely a world where Koi at the end of the season is a team that doesn't make the World Championship. I think that the inconsistencies of Midwin and Supa definitely could be a problem later into the season. Definitely could be a problem later on in the season. I think there are teams that can do better and better. We have Wunder in the chat. Where SK? Well, we'll get to SK. You don't get to come in here, Martin Hansen, and just derail the program. You don't get to do that. You don't get to do that. Only love Wunder. Anyhow, Koi, here, I think it depends on how you want to view it. KC, I think in the long term, could be better than Koi. I do think that in regards to KC, I had my concerns in regards to the signing of Reaper alone, but I do think that Zeph being, part of the squad is a vote of confidence. I think that when you're in a situation where, looking at Reaper's last 2 years on C9, and I do think there was an era of Reaper that was very respected in my mind in terms of what he did on C9. But then when he went to coach in Japan and then he came back to C9, I feel like the last 3 years kind of put an image in my mind where I'm not super hyped about Reaper. And sometimes I think you're in a situation where people hire the same coaches simply because they speak the language. But Reaper is a legend of the game, and maybe this is a situation where, of course, it's a return to glory. Could be the case. It's hard to know what's going on the inside, but recent years haven't been, the best from Reaper's side. It was also on 100 Thieves for sure. 100 Thieves C9, that run was very good. In terms of the roster, I think the Busio was probably the biggest signing in the offseason by far. KC finding an upgrade in the superposition, that was a difficult thing to do. If you can't get Mickey, you can't get, let's say Alvaro as well, was up and down, but had high highs. Busio was the guy to get. I think Busio's lane phase is his weakness. I don't know how much we can attribute that to Maso as well, but lane-wise, they are quite rough. But I do think that Busio and Kalist, is a very, very good match. Very, very, very good match. I think that Busio, in comparison to, for example, Alvaro, he has a way bigger champion pool. His champion pool, he can play the range supports really well, can play the melee support super well, and I do think that Busio is like a top 3 minimum support that you can get in Western League of Legends right now. So I do think that Busio was the biggest signing. I think that in terms of mid lane, Kiahu, he came in, I believe, for UCAL for a couple of games. I thought he was okay. I don't have a strong opinion on him. I think he went kind of like under the radar. I remember like an Ari game that was like decent, but he hasn't had that much volume. In terms of solo queue, it's unique, It's unique in the sense that I don't put, this might sound a little bit rude, but being high elo right now in Korea isn't the same as it was a couple of years ago. Because all the top players are not playing the ladder. In the past, you needed to defeat Canyon, Showmaker, the T1 players, Chovy, all these guys. It was harder in the past to get rank 1. All the demons that are in the LCK were also really, really high ranked. That's something that's tapered down. Why? I'm not so sure. Like, we have a lot of arena gaming from the top players. I think they just scrim more, and there's been a lessened interest in what solo queue is, Solo queue, Korea was always the toughest because you had the top Chinese players and top Korean players, and it was a little bit more difficult in the past. And even though Kiahu is very high on the ladder, I do think that it doesn't get me as excited as it once would. I had higher hopes for their potential signing in the mid lane, but I do think it shouldn't be a problem, because in the end they have Kana, Yike, Busio, Kalist. That's a very strong core. I even think that a player like Poby would be pretty good here. I do think that I feel like Poby could have been really, really good here too, based on the skill set that he showed. But there's that. I think there's a world where KC like surpass Koi. It depends on what the Tierlist or Tierlist is for. I think that in the long run, KC should surpass Koi, but I think in the short term, Koi should be higher than KC. You know. So there's that. These are the three easy ones for sure. In terms of like a team dropping out of here, I do think that the main question mark for KC is like how good will their coaching staff do to maintain the roster. I do think that probably this roster will be easier to manage than the previous one. That's what I think. That's what I think. You know, they should be better than G2 as well. Nah. I think that you gotta give G2 players respect and also their coaching staff respect. KC is basically, rebuilding half the project. Why are G2 always the best no matter what? I don't think it's no matter what. I think having Apps, BB, Hans Sama, and the coaching staff as your core for the last 4 years is pretty broken. It's just so insane. You plug and play anybody, and it's really really they get to pick players first, and it's very easy for them to integrate players because I think the standard is really really good. The standard of work and the standard of processes in place for G2 is just really, really good. Yeah. Honestly, G2 shouldn't make Worlds because they skipped Inspire. Deserve a shit year for that decision. No, I think that probably internally they gain credit with their players in terms of making a commitment to them. I think also, keep in mind. Like people are looking at it too black and white when they say Inspired and Busio should have been assigned by these guys. First and foremost, they already have players on contract. They would have to bench them. You don't know if you can offload them. And at the same time, Busio and Inspired are fucking expensive. So why on earth would you want to spend a lot of money when you just won the league and you had an improved Worlds run and you finally got to the point where you wanted to get to? It doesn't make a lot of sense. This roster ain't winning Worlds. Well, let me tell you something. Nobody's winning Worlds from the West. I have been negative in regards to G2's, Mickey X, departure the entire year. I still think it was wrong. But you have to also keep in mind, cultural fits, I think Inspired is the type of player that warps the team around him. It's either his way or nobody else's way. And I don't know how well Inspired would function in the G2 structure. I think that's something to consider. Don't get me wrong. I think Inspired is the best jungler on paper, right? But I don't think Skumond is that far away. I don't think Skumond is that far away. And additionally, if you look at Inspired, he didn't have any other opportunities in Europe. So you're not really depriving anybody from anything. And instead, you might give away Skumond, who might be the future of jungling in Europe. I think that could be a big mistake in itself. Labro versus Busio, I think there's some arguments to be made there for sure. Maybe, I think the big thing for me, if I'm reading G2's playbook, if we don't see an announcement where KC extend the contract of Kalist, I think that they are making a massive, massive bid for Kalist at the end of this year, the coming year, 2026. If KC don't announce that Kalist is resigning, I think that Hans Sama, in the short term, can be better than Kalist. But I do think the way Kalist plays is modern ADC. he is playing modern AD carry. There's very few ADs in Europe that play modern ADC. Modern ADC is basically Dogo, right? Dogo, Elk, Gumayushi, Ruler. In the sense that Viper, in the sense that they are pressuring forward and squeezing everything out of their kit to force fights, to gain traction in fights. We see very little of that in Europe and also in North America. I think that Yeon is also like a strong player. Pays, of course, pays. I don't have to mention every Korean and Chinese ADC here, guys. Come on now. That's why I have always said that ADC is the biggest, gap over the last couple of years. Ever since we've had Gale Force meta and how some of these ADs in, some of these ADs in, of course, Korea and China is fantastic, I do think that Kalist is playing in a way that will eventually make him the best AD. That's my take. Nevertheless, let's continue with some of these more names. I think that GX, a strange thing for me with GX, right? I do think that, comparing the contenders. So we're going to make like a little contender. So it's like Vitality, Fnatic, GX. Let's determine the order here for a moment, right? I think that Vitality signing Humanoid is massive for them. So I'm going to just move my cam and cover Casey here because we already talked about them. I think Humanoid is a very, very good signing. People love to hate on Humanoid. I think that in terms of what the fan base has become and discourse has become with the popularity of Koi and the popularity of Casey and so forth, I feel like everything is so reactionary. So reactionary. Everything is the latest thing that they did. People don't care about context. People don't care about history. People don't care about anyone's legacy. It's like if the last thing you did was trash, then everything you ever did was trash. Happened in the context of me. People talk about my career. It's like, oh, 2-7 KC, lul. It's like, bro, I've been in esports for 15 years. People talk about like this with Hilly. People talk about this about players like Humanoid too, right? It's like Humanoid was underperforming on Fnatic, right? And obviously was very unhappy on Fnatic. There are issues in Fnatic. Everyone accepts that there were issues in Fnatic. Humanoid outside of that environment can be good, right? How hard why is that so hard to imagine? That putting yourself in a situation where a player that even when he's underperforming is on average top 3 in the region, right? That's first. And at the same time, you know that the Fnatic environment is really, really bad, and then he's being pulled out of that environment and then potentially be doing better. It was the same. I don't mind if there is some nuanced analysis behind it. It's hard to imagine because he was bad for 3 years. But he wasn't bad for 3 years. That's the thing. You're just lying. But people automatically put him top 3 because he just played for Fnatic. The thing is, Humanoid at his worst was dog walking the league outside of caps. When people hated on Humanoid because Fnatic couldn't beat G2, they were still dog walking everybody else in the region, guys. Like people are just rewriting history because they don't remember how Fnatic got to those finals in the first place. So this is exactly what I mean. Like someone here in the chat, like Frozen, he just said it's hard to imagine because he was bad for 3 years. He wasn't bad for 3 years. He had flaws, for sure, which is fair, 100% fair to say he's a flawed player, right? And to have those concerns. But the nuance of that conversation isn't the case. Maybe he wasn't bad for 3 years straight, but he wasn't good either. It depends on what you compare it to. It depends on what you compare it to. What do you compare it to? I made a statement, top 3 mid laner on average at some point first in the last couple of years. I think Vitality getting him is a steal. I think so, at least. I think this can turn Vitality from an average team to an actual contender. GX, you know, the weird thing about GX, man, like what's going on with Jackies? I've said this so many times on stream, but what's going on with this guy? I feel like he should be so much better than what he shows in the LEC. Like, what's going on with this guy? I feel like he's been so underwhelming in the LEC, and I don't know if I got blinded by the fact that the meta was in a good place for the guy, but even watching his POV, I feel like this guy should be better. But from his volume in spring and summer, he hasn't shown me, you know? He hasn't shown me that. It's like he did really good in Zeri, Yone, and all that jazz, you know. I just need to see more sides to the guy. Really, really, like that's the main thing here that makes me question GX a little bit, you know. I think June is really good. I think Isma is slowly getting better. People were hating on Isma in the chat, but I did think that he was getting better as time went on. But I do feel like the ceiling of this team is dependent on how well Jackie's is going to do. That's where I'm at, you know? And then Fnatic getting Vladi, I think, is massive. I think upset. I don't have a strong opinion on Lospa. Don't have a strong opinion on Lospa, but I think that upset, Razork, you know, and Vladi is such a strong core. I think that that makes Fnatic intriguing, you know? I think it's very, very intriguing. Vladi has too much ego. But you know him personally or what? That's another player that people can't... People take the context of like the KC legends, but it's like... Let's be honest, guys. KC removed everybody in management. Did you think that for a second? KC removed their whole coaching staff and benched like their management, right? How about adding that to the context? Vladi is a very, very young player. And he was a very young player, and he was in an environment where I don't think that he got the support that he needed. It's obvious that he is insanely talented. Winter Split and Spring already showed that. He's obviously insanely talented. In Winter, he was the best mid lane in the league. He was. That's already enough for me to know that obviously that's something that you can set up again. It's way easier to do it again after you've done it once. He reject our support though. What do you mean reject your support? I'm talking internally. Internally. Where the coaching staff currently, where are they on KC? Where are they? Where are they? Apples out. It's like he reject our support. I don't know. We're talking about Vladi ego, bro. The ego on KC fans is really special. That, bro, if we talk about ego, bro, I think I have to say that the KC fans have ego, bro. Vladi is good, but he is super toxic. Just look at him in solo queue. Who cares, bro? Like, you gotta be a nice kid, you know? It is what it is. It's part of the job, sure. We're talking about like a potential about in regards to how you're going to perform. I think Vladi is a massive signing, guys. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Genuine question, your experience, do we have Los Ratones fans have ego? I think obviously it's like Los Ratones fans, there's so damn many, right? But my general interaction with Los Ratones fans has been largely positive. Very, very positive. Even before I joined, you know? I think there's sometimes a little bit crossover. There's like Los Ratones fans that are T1 fans and they don't like it when I say that Chovy is the best mid laner, shit like this, you know? But it is what it is, you know? But I feel like the majority of Los Ratones fans, they don't I feel like they don't take things as serious, you know? At least this is my you know, it's like, you know, the vibe of that K-Rule projects, I think, is a very specific one, and I think that echoes through the fan base. You know, I think that K-Rule is just genuinely a very positive streamer. You know, and I think you cultivate that in your fandom too. You know. Anyhow, I think this would be my ordering. I think that I will put Fnatic here with Vladi. And then I put Vitality right behind here, and then GX third. I think probably that's the way I will go for it, you know? All right, early bloomers. So these are the teams that I expect to, you know, do well in the short term. I think that SK is the team that I think in the BO1 segment is going to do well. I think over time, this team will run out of steam, is how I imagine. But I do think that in the short term, they come with a very different approach because of how lead it is and how different they're going to be, you know, approaching the game. And I think in the BO1 segment, they can do some damage. Leader has a very unique champion pool. And I know that these guys are working very hard, you know, because I think from their side, right? Wunder, Mickey, Leader, bro, like this is the chance. Like either do it now or go fuck yourself. There's that, you know. So I think that SK can do a lot of damage, but I wonder how it's going to be in best of threes and Fearless when people have more footage of them and so forth. So I do think in the short term, like I wouldn't be surprised if like from the BO1s they are top 3, but then in the BO3s they will lose steam because then you can like you have more footage, you know what to ban, you know what to target, and also it's Fearless, and I do think that will be a bigger challenge, right? It's similar to the challenge that we face. We are very unique to play against, right? But in BO1s, it's kind of it's harder to plug all the holes, you know. You gotta ban a lot of shit, you know, to make us uncomfortable. Ban a lot of shit. But then in Fearless, obviously the dynamic changes a little bit, and like the layer of the onion, you know, you need to make sure when you peel it back, there's something there, you know. I do think the SK in the short term can do damage. In the long term, I think late bloomers, I kind of like Navi and the roster they built up. I kind of like it. I feel like they put together like interesting players. I do think the only concern is that there is lack of experience from everybody across the board. But I think that the majority of the guys on this team did everything they could have done in ERLs, right? They did absolutely everything they could have done in ERLs, whether it's The Rock, Mainter, Rylek, you know. Um, and these guys did as much as they could in the ERLs. And I do think that this is a team that could grow. I really think this is a team that could potentially grow over time. I think that they are individually good, and I think that it's interesting. You know, Paros as a player, I think that he can showcase more than he did during his time on BDS, which I think is nice. He gets another chance. I think that Polby as well is a player that was playing better and better on Fnatic, and I think from watching him play in general, I think that this is a player that is like very consistent and solid. I don't think that he's going to be a problem against any mid laners, which is also really big. I think Mainter is also very, very disciplined top laner. He plays like a veteran top laner, which is really good. I think that Na'Vi will really, really scale into the season really well, and I think over time they can definitely grow to be in this pocket here. I wouldn't be surprised if Na'Vi over time surpass like a GX or a Vitality or a Fnatic, if things could just go right for them. I think this is a very interesting project, and considering Na'Vi, right, have you know, this is their first real year. I think they put together something very interesting here. So big up to them. Big up to them, I would say. In regards to the rest of the teams, honestly, I would have to like, I would have to add a row below, and so it's not interesting to me. Like, maybe it's rude, but I have to say, like, when it comes to the remainders, right? BDS, KCB. I guess this is the blue one is KCB. These three teams, especially KCB, is kind of weird. You're in a situation where you qualified and then your roster is different. I don't put that blame on KC. It's like, it's like KC is in a situation where so they didn't even retain the roster, you know? Like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think, you know? Like, I think it's a strange one, guys. It's a strange one. Like, Team Heretics, maybe it comes from a position of knowing less, but Team Heretics isn't super exciting to me. I could be wrong here. Maybe it's just because I have more name recognition and have had more visibility on the Na'Vi players. It's just here, plain and simple, Team Heretics, like Tracing, Serin. I just can't help but feel, but Team Heretics will run into similar issues, you know? That's where I'm at, you know? And BDS, they just kind of maintained, you know? I don't know what to like. Yeah, I just have very little feedback here. Very little feedback here. I think I love that always when we do these tier lists, it's like you have all the K-Cup lawyers already in the chat. KCB want to give experience to those KCBS players who have moved up to KCB. Like, yeah. What else would it be? it's not BDS now, it's shifters. All right. Shift is a crazy name. Like everyone knows why it's a crazy name. Why did nobody in the room tell them it's a crazy name? It's so easy, bro. If you guys don't win, you're gonna be shitters. You can't be doing this. Come on now. Because this is not interesting to me, guys. Like it's not insulting. It's just that in terms of the spread here, I don't really buy into the journey that these teams are gonna go on. You know, I don't see the vision, right? I don't see the vision, and maybe I'm wrong. That's all. Like I just don't see the vision, and it could be as simple as I don't know enough about these individual players. Could be the case. It's there's no like there's no form of insult here. For you, rookie of the year prediction, the Baus. If I would give us like we would probably be like in the early bloomers section. I think that we will start off very very good. You know, like early bloomer section. Like that's where we would be. Early bloomers. We would climb into here. Early bloomers. I think that we're gonna start off very very well. That's my read. I think we're going to start off very well. I think that it's a good benefit to us that we have that opening segment is BO1s. I'm just being honest with you guys. It's definitely the fact that it's BO1s is a big plus for us. And I think it's the same thing for SK. You know. If it was straight off the bat, best of threes, BO5s, I think it would be a very, very different challenge. But considering we have 4 weeks of BO1s and we can fine tune a couple of strategies, it makes the practice process a little bit easier, you know? A little bit easier. But yeah. Isn't Ella good in game 4 and 5s? The LEC turns everything into a different game, you know? Like, this is the big leagues. This is the big leagues. But I wanted to do a vlog on when we wrapped up scrimming, a vlog, a little update on what's happening. But I can give you the gist of it, a little short one. Like I'm very happy, you know. I'm very happy. We understand the challenge of facing the LEC teams. The LEC teams are very very tough, and it's going to be a different challenge. But I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm pleasantly surprised. And that's it. Yeah. This is a cheeky little this is a cheeky little list. Cheeky little list, guys. How many wins for playoffs? Should be more or less. I think 5 should guarantee you 5. 4 could maybe get you a tiebreaker, but I think 5. Ronnie was saying he was surprised that Los Ratones early game felt better. I feel like Velia is very receptive to feedback. Very receptive to feedback. You just gotta be consistent with it. Velia has improved a lot, I would say already. Like our early games look much better. Yeah. I think that Velia. I think everyone for that matter. I think it's just easier when you boot camp and work in person. I think it's important to keep in mind that like people think Los Ratones, like the fact that they did so well this year while streaming everything and streaming is a massive feat of strength. To now be able to focus only on the performance and to boot camp and to live in a gaming house and work in an office, that makes things a lot easier to perform. We also get to scrim against better opponents, and also you get to scrim against better opponents, and you get to, of course, focus only on the performance. It really changes the circumstance. That the ramp up of skill and the challenge being right in front of you makes things easier. I think that's important to keep in mind, you know. But the challenge is still there. LEC is going to be very tough, you know. Will you suit up in LEC? Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking if there's anything else to address. Yeah, I think Velia has improved a lot, I think. You just need to be consistent with the feedback and the digestion of VODs. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, you know, like I say, look at this, I want you to do this. Look at this example here. This is amazing. Let's do that, you know. He just needs discipline. Yeah, my plan is to be his discipline, pretty much. How does Nemesis measure against the mid laners? I think Nemesis is a fantastic laner. I think Nemesis is so smart about the game. So smart. Really smart about the game. Really smart about the game. Massive treasure for the team. Massive treasure for the team. Okay. That's LEC. He said Poby was the best mid he played against so far. Do you agree? Yeah. I would agree, yeah. I think Poby has best form right now, currently. What about Baus? He said you were very critical of his early itemization. He learned a lot. Baus is also, I don't know, Baus is so mature, bro. Baus is so easy going, bro. I could say, Baus, try this. And he'd be like, all right, I'm going to try that, coach. I love Baus. Thoughts on Linsas has potential, should be replaced. You know what's funny? There were two teams that said, basically, we were told they're going to fire their coaches. They didn't do it, bro. What happened? Vitality promoted Pad internally, and Striker didn't leave BDS. I'm just messing with them. But it's funny. It's a little bit funny. What would you say is LR's strength? This would be funny to you because the juxtaposition of the year. But our early games are really really good. Our early games are really good. The other aspects of the game, you know, with new patch, a lot of things have changed. So it's like a lot of things feel very unnatural, you know? The wave timings. It's like the wave timings, how much the windows are. Bro, waves are there every 20 seconds. And also, they gave waves, they're like minions walk at 443 move speed in late game. Like, you kill a mid wave, and then the next wave is already mid. Kato was saying it's not that big. I think Kato was saying that from a meta perspective. From a meta perspective, a lot of things are similar. That from that side, yes. But in terms of the game, I wanted to make a bigger video on this, but I do think Riot, what they did is they looked at how the average silver gold player played the game, and then they buffed that game. That's what they did. They buffed noob gameplay. So you have 60. So I understand where Riot's coming from. But they basically just, they're like, oh, how does a gold player play? All right, he opens on his lane for 20 minutes of the game. Let's make that the correct decision. Great. No roaming, nothing. Just open on your lane. Here you have home gods. Make it the right, just make it the right decision. Go to your lane. Will pro play be more or less enjoyable to watch? Honestly, I think the short term, less. I think less. Another thing I really dislike is that there's just so little gold in the game. Like, you can't snowball leads in mid to late game. It drives me insane, bro. Like, no gold in the game. And then platings don't go away. So if you make one mistake, the enemy is ahead. You can literally be like 5k gold ahead. Take Nash. It gives you less gold now. And then if you lose the fight for some reason, you give shutdowns. They get all platings on outer towers. Okay? They get all platings. And then it's done. Baron at 20 thoughts. Baron is tanky as a motherfucker. So tanky. Bro, Cannon minions give 50 gold. How's Reki with the new dynamic? Bro, Reki is... I don't know, Reki is such a fucking professional, bro. Like, he's so damn good at maintaining his level, which was his like when I competed against him. This is what I remember always. He's like, he was so fucking dialed in on his matchups, on his play, how to win his games. He was really like a master of the champions he locked in. You know, it's like he really cemented that idea of, oh, when Reckless locks this champion, you're gonna get fucked. And I think that level of discipline and form keeping is really impressive. Like, he's applying that methodology of to the support role, and it's really nice to see. It's really nice to see. Why did Relic stop playing Ashe and Senna support? They got nerfed. You can't stream it. I'm here to help the team. Like, Cadel needs to wrestle me and choke me out for us to stream the scrims. So the fact that we don't stream the scrims, you can blame me. I got hired to help the team win. So, like, that's my job. I fight against any information leakage, anything. I fight against it, you know? My job is to win. So anything that would decrease our chance to win, I fight against. So you can call me the bad guy. Call me the bad guy. Did you see T1 vs H Elite? No, I was planning to watch it now. How was scrims against top 3? Good. Really good, I would say. But that's all I can say. Like, doesn't mean we played all of them. Maybe we played only one. Maybe we played 2. Who knows? But I'm happy. Maybe they played none and that's why I have it. No, we played at least one. Can you organize some more relaxed scrims versus tier 2 and 3 for stream? No. No. I don't think I will. Who will win? Los Ratones of 1 million lions. I need more context here. Like, thing is, if we are in a if we are in an area like if we're in an environment where, let's say, there's no food, and then like we can just hide in a bunker or something. Then like these lions will starve to death and die, and we win. Los Ratones win, bro. Will you report the scrim results after winter like Romain? No. I don't care about that, bro. I think it's just noise, bro. Like, I don't care. Why not? Because I'm here. I'm here to do a job, guys. I'm here to coach. I don't care about nothing else. What about Scrim Champion title? Yeah, we're probably not gonna win that.